I actually questioned divorce for the first time ever. I remember saying that to you. Do you think that's normal or like healthy? We weren't sleeping in the same bed. We were arguing in front of the kids. So there was no intimacy. Would you want your daughter to be married to a man that you're being right now?
My answer was no. I was being honest. I was able to be honest, probably for the first time in a long time, because I was in denial.
But that really gave me hope.
If you don't take intentional action to work on your relationship at any stage, the problems are going to still be there.
Quite interesting what happened next.
It was super interesting.
That your marriage isn't broken. We realized our marriage wasn't broken. Couples for modern marriage, the old blueprint does not work for modern marriages. I wanted to save the concept of marriage by bringing in the new blueprint. And that's how we then realized that we needed to recreate our relationship, and we came up with that vision framework and to create the truest version of our relationship.
Welcome to the Save My Marriage podcast. My name's Adam Simmons, and this is my beautiful wife.
And I'm Aston Simmons.
And on today's episode, we're going to be sharing with you our journey from almost getting a divorce to now creating a relationship where we're happier than we've ever been. We're more connected and close than we've ever been. And we've been together for 22 years? 22 years now.
Yeah.
So a very long time.
Yeah.
And we want to share with you our journey.
Yeah.
So you can understand how we've turned things around. We know a lot of you are having challenges, and a lot of the time you're wondering whether it's actually even possible to turn things around. So we want to take you on that journey and share with you exactly how we did that for ourselves so that you can see that it's possible for you too. And we've helped hundreds of couples now do the same.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to share this journey with you. So
we are so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to celebrate that the Save My Marriage podcast is back? I know some of you guys have missed us, and some of you were around in the Worthy Woman podcast days when I was solo podcasting. So thank you for hanging around, and we are so excited to be back together. This is going to be so much fun, and I'm just so excited about it. And so for the first episode, we thought really to introduce you to us and our story and how we got here. And like Adam said, we were where some of you might be right now, where we were not sure if we were meant to be together anymore. This was like back in 2019, and I actually questioned divorce for the first time ever, and we're going to share about that story today. So if you are, listening to this and you're in a relationship, you're married, and you're feeling like, is this what a relationship is really meant to be like? If you're questioning, is it too late for us because we're way past that roommate stage? We're not even friends. We're basically enemies. You're going to get a lot from this episode because that's where we were. Like back in 2019, if we journey back to that time, we'd just had our second child. We were feeling really stressed and stretched, like emotionally, physically, financially, in all the ways. And we had really disconnected from each other. Like I remember walking past you, like in the hallway or in the kitchen, and we would literally look like through each other. When you do that, like you don't even acknowledge the person is there. Like it's really sad to say that, but that's just the honest truth about where we were. And we want to share the honest truth with you. We want to be real and vulnerable. It's really important to us that we share the truth of what it was actually like, because we're not a perfect couple and we're very imperfect, just like probably everyone listening. That's what makes us human. But we were able to get out of that really hard time by being really honest. And that's, what it really takes, by being honest and being vulnerable. So, we were in this really horrible place. We weren't, sleeping in the same room. We weren't talking. And if we were talking, it was just about like chores and who's, dropping the kids and have you done the washing? And, we used to have those battles, didn't we, of like who's doing more and who's not doing enough. And then it would become like just competing on who was doing more. Which always ended up like with you feeling like you were not enough and me always feeling like I wasn't supported and I was doing it alone. So it didn't serve us. It didn't help at all.
No, it didn't.
And we were trying to talk about it. Like we were trying to talk about it, but we were resentful. We were dysregulated. We were angry. We were frustrated. So the conversations weren't going anywhere. They were just going in cycles, and just arguments would just keep going and never get resolved.
So I'd love to know, what was your internal dialogue at that time? just for everyone listening, what were the things that were on repeat for you that you kept on saying about us, about our relationship, about me?
Yeah, well, the story I kept telling is like, I'm doing this alone. Like, I felt like I was the default parent and I was doing it all alone. I felt like I was driving the family forward. I didn't feel emotionally connected to you at the time. I would describe you as a rock. I used to describe Adam as like a rock. He was very emotionally unavailable and really shut down. In terms of attachment styles, he would have been like avoidant, anxious. And yeah, I found that really hard. It made me feel really alone and lonely in our relationship. And yeah, so my story was very much that I'm doing it on my own. I was exhausted. I was resentful. I was depleted. And it was really hard because it made me feel like I couldn't be the mum that I wanted to be because I didn't have the relationship that I wanted to be in. So it had a flow-on effect to every area. And obviously at that time, you were also struggling with some like mental health challenges, a lot of anxiety and depression. And so it just kind of made me feel like all of the pressure was on my shoulders. Like it was all on me. And it really did feel like I was carrying, the whole weight of the world on my shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on it there. I was also going through some really hard times with that transition. I think there was the anxiety, there was the depression. I wasn't happy in my work. I wasn't happy with my body. I wasn't happy with my finances. There was so many things that were going on at that time where I wasn't happy with where I was at in myself. And then, and that was just bleeding into the relationship. I wasn't showing up as the best husband. I wasn't showing up as the best father. I was really just showing up as the worst version of me. And at that point, I was pointing the finger at Aston and saying that it was all her fault. And maybe one of you are doing this right now in your relationship where you're painting your partner as the villain. Like if they just change, everything would be fine. If he would just come on the journey, everything would be fine. And what I realized through our experience is that a couple of things, but Aston went first. So in our case, Aston went first. She decided that she'd had enough of how it was because for me, it wasn't as bad as what she thought it was. So Aston decided to make some changes.
We should share a bit on that story, like
Definitely.
how that happened.
Definitely.
Because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Like it's such a lie that you're both ready at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I hear from people all the time, like I can't work on my relationship because my partner's on board. Well, thank God I didn't believe that because like 6-7 years ago now, when I did question divorce and I came to Adam and I said, I think we need a divorce because I was, depleted, exhausted. It wasn't working. Adam looked shocked. And I will never forget this, looking at his face. And he was like, the look of shock on his face. And I remember like looking at him going, are you shocked? And you were like, well, yeah. Is it really that bad? Like you just said. And I was like, really? Is it really that bad? We're not talking to each other about anything other than the logistics of managing a life. We're basically roommates. There's no love. There's no connection. Like we had massive love droughts. There was no intimacy. We weren't sleeping in the same bed. We were arguing in front of the kids. We were even like playing each other against the kids. It was horrible. And I remember saying that to you and going, like, do you think that's normal or like healthy? Like, what's bad to you? Like, I think that's bad. And Adam was kind of like, well, yeah, but I just thought it was a stage.
Yeah.
Like.
And we hear this a lot where couples, usually it's the men, but it can be the women as well, where they think that just because they have young kids, it's just a stage and things will magically get better as the kids grow up. Well, in our experience from working with couples who have very young, like babies, all the way through to parents whose kids have left home, we've seen that it doesn't work that way. You just have new challenges and things just change over time. But if you don't take intentional action to work on your relationship at any stage, the problems are going to still be there. And so this was, I guess...
this was that moment.
This was that moment,
Adam was telling the narrative that, a lot of people do, men and women fall to that lie.
Yeah.
But it shocked me because I really thought he was just going to say yes. Like he was so unhappy, like depressed, like not motivated. I I could tell he wasn't happy either. So I was really shocked when he was actually surprised. And so it took me back, and I said to him, okay, I can see that you think I'm the problem. Like, it was very clear. He was making it very clear that if I just changed, if I lowered my expectations, if I wasn't such a perfectionist, if I didn't want so much, if I didn't try so hard, like, I could go on and on and on. He made it very clear that if I just stopped being the way that I was, that everything would be fine. And so I said to him, okay, just for a moment, so that I can understand your perspective, can you take me out of it? Just take me out of it. And imagine you're still in your life. Would you want your daughter to be married to a man that you're being right now?
Yeah.
And I remember being in the kitchen when I asked you this question, and it was like time stopped. Everything slowed down, and you really thought about it.
And this question really rocked me to my core, because to think about my daughter in that case with that particular question, being married to the man that I was currently being at that point was shocking, was a real wake-up call, because my answer was no. I was being honest. I was able to be honest, probably for the first time in a long time, because I was in denial for a long time about where things actually were in our relationship. And so my answer was no. And it was hard, but it was also a great opportunity to see that I obviously had work to do.
Yeah.
And I think you also asked me, would you be proud if your son, was being the man that you're being right now? And again, the answer was no. So there was two beautiful realizations in that, and an opportunity for me to take some more responsibility, because up until that point, I wasn't taking any responsibility for anything in my life. And so it wasn't any surprise that things weren't going how I wanted them to go. But really the real transition was from you.
That really gave me hope.
Yeah.
Like, up until that point, I had thought, well, like, nothing's going to change. Like, he doesn't see my perspective. He seems to think we're fine and that this is normal.
Yep.
But that moment of truth, like, that really shifted things for me. I felt a spark of hope. I had almost given up, but it gave me a spark of hope. And I remember actually thanking you. I had like tears in my eyes, and I felt this vulnerable connection and closeness with Adam amidst conflict, and people find this hard to understand. They think connection only happens in the good times, but actually deepening your connection happens during challenge or conflict, and how you navigate it. And in that moment of conflict, I felt the closest I had felt to you in years. And so I remember crying and actually thanking you. And I remember you being shocked again and being like, why are you thanking me? Like, I just told you like something that's horrible. Surely you don't want to hear that. And I said, but it's the truth, and I can work with the truth. Like, you're being honest with me. I respect you now. I wasn't respecting you. Like, prior to that moment, I had lost respect for you because you had lost respect for yourself. But in that moment, I had respect for you. And I saw the man that you once were, and the man I knew you could become. And then that gave me that hope. And in that moment, I realized maybe it's not that we're not compatible. Maybe it's not that, we're not meant to be together. Maybe it's that we have not been intentionally working on ourselves, and also we have not been intentionally working on us.
Yeah.
Like, at that time in our life, like, we were not even on the list. We were like very low at the bottom. Adam, you were not looking after yourself. You'd stopped going to the gym. You'd stopped eating well. Loads of things that were important to you, you stopped doing when you became a dad, in the name of being a good dad and being a good partner. And I did the same. I stopped looking after myself and just started meeting everyone else's needs in the name of being a good mum. And we learned the hard way that is the worst thing you can do for your life and your relationship, because if you don't look after yourself, if you don't feel good in yourself, you cannot be good for other people. And the whole reason you get into a relationship is because of all those good parts of your partner.
Yeah.
And if you let all those things go, like hobbies and values and things that are important to you, you don't have anything to give the relationship.
Yeah,
so
100%.
That was a wake-up call for both of us. But basically from that moment on, I said to Adam, okay, well, I feel like there's something here. And, maybe through this we can grow, and not only grow individually, maybe grow together. I mean, I wasn't sure at that point. I was still questioning divorce. So I wasn't, convinced that I would be able to save our relationship then, but I at least had hope that we could navigate like growing through this challenge, and that, how I would navigate that, I wanted to be proud of that, like for our children. I really wanted to model that in a way I was proud of. So I said to Adam, like, I really want to start to learn how to be like the truest version of myself and to create the truest version of our relationship. And I said to you, I'd love for you to come on the journey with me, but also there's no pressure, because I want you to do this for you. I do not want you to do this for me, because then it's going to feel again like it's me driving everything. And I think, I wanted Adam to say like, yes. And, I'm going to be completely honest, it was a bit of a heartbreaking moment, because he acknowledged it. He was like, wow. He's like, I'm amazed that like you can share all this pain with me, and then that you're still willing to work on our relationship, even though I've just admitted I've been being like the worst version of myself. And you were really, you thought that was admirable, and you really acknowledged it, but you were like, but I just need to be honest that I don't have capacity in myself right now to make that commitment. And so, it was really hard to hear that. I felt really rejected in that moment. It was a real blow. But at the same time, I let it hurt me.
Yeah.
And I just decided, well, I'm going to go and feel my feelings around this, and I'm going to do it for me. Like I did do it for our kids, but I really did it for me first, because I decided, well, I'm worthy of a loving and supportive relationship. And that starts with me. That starts with me being in a loving and supportive relationship with myself. And the most loving thing I could do at that time was to learn about like how to create that relationship that I wanted to be in. Learning about, communication and conflict and connection, and, how to deepen intimacy, and how to take care of myself, and, reconnect back to my feminine, because I had totally disconnected from it back in 2019. I was hyper masculine, the strong woman, independent woman, trying to prove that I didn't need you. When deep down, that's all I wanted. I really wanted you to be able to do it with me. So I then did go on the journey. I did start doing the work. It was really quite interesting what happened next.
It was super interesting. So Aston went on this journey by herself, and I was obviously watching from the sidelines. And what I started to notice was, so Aston she was working with coaches, she was doing courses, reading books, a whole range of different things to help herself to learn and grow. And I noticed some changes. So the arguments that we used to have were no longer playing out. I would try and engage in the same sort of conflict that we'd had for years, but Aston wouldn't reciprocate. There was this different energy about her. She was more relaxed. She was more in her feminine. She was more, there was a softness about her. There was just this new energy about her, which I couldn't, at the time, I didn't quite understand. I didn't know what was going on. It felt a bit strange. I was a little bit out of my depths in knowing how to navigate it. But I could definitely see that things had changed. And so what happened over a period of time is I started to have the realization that, holy shit, this woman's changed so much that if I don't start growing, if I don't start looking at my own patterns and where I'm falling short, I'm going to lose her, because she really has cleaned up. And we talk about cleaning up your side of the street in our work. And if you imagine a street with a line down the middle, and there's your side and there's your partner's side, and all of us have rubbish on the street. All of us have our own personal growth work to do. And there's rubbish on both sides of the street. And it's not about who has more rubbish. It's about cleaning up your side. And so Aston was doing her work. She was picking up her rubbish, putting it in the trash bag. But I wasn't. And when I looked in the mirror at that time, I could see clearly that the rubbish was all on my side and her side of the street was looking pretty good. So that was a wake-up call. And I that really invited me into wanting to do something, because I didn't want to lose this beautiful woman that we'd already created a beautiful life. We had 2 amazing kids already. We'd been together at that stage for 16
Yeah.
years or so.
Yeah, I think
So
we've been
quite a
married,
long time.
Married 6 years at that point, I think.
Yeah, so quite a long time, a lot of history, a lot of beautiful memories, and I didn't want to throw that down the toilet. So it was my journey. Then I made a decision in myself that it was time for me to do some work on myself, and I engaged a coach, and I started doing some different things. And that really opened a brand new door. My path completely shifted, and that's what led us then to eventually working together to rebuild things and learn more about relationships. And here we are, all those years later. But
yeah,
it was beautiful, and it illustrates the power that one person can go first, instead of having this belief that, no, my partner has to be on board with me at the same time. We have to do this together. Well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
You're always going to be at different points, and one of you can make the decision that you want more, and you can take action towards it. And like in our case, and we've seen this with hundreds of couples as well, it actually inspires the other person. Rather than create separation, it inspires them to want to come on the journey with you if you do it first and foremost from that loving intention for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is really powerful.
Yeah. And exactly what you said, no two people are ever at the same point. Like,
No.
Yes, we love recommending working on the relationship together. However, it just doesn't always go that way. Sometimes there is one partner that's more open. I was definitely more open. Adam was definitely more resistant. It doesn't make me better and him wrong. We were just at different points. So yeah, we really believe in inspiring. We're going to ask some questions.
Yeah, let's do some questions. Yeah. I'll go first. So I'd love to know, what was the hardest part of this journey for you personally?
Oh, there was lots of hard parts. What was the hardest part? The hardest part that's coming to mind is actually realizing how much I had neglected and abandoned myself in the relationship, and how much I blamed you for that. But when you wouldn't do the work for me, I had to meet those parts of myself, and I had to really meet myself on a deeper level and in a way that I had not met myself before.
Yeah.
So that was hard, but like in that breakdown, there was this breakthrough for me. And I really think for most people, I don't think you have a breakthrough without a breakdown.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Yeah, I definitely had that breakdown moment, and it was really hard. There was a lot of, big emotions, lots of crying, lots of, meeting these parts of myself. And I think what made it harder is the way that we're not very good at talking about challenges in relationships in society or divorce. Like I remember calling like some family and friends and, saying that like I was so upset and I needed someone to talk to, and I felt like I was questioning divorce, and just everyone resists it like the plague. It makes everyone uncomfortable. Even through the phone, you just feel this like tense energy. It's almost like they don't want to catch it. It's like a disease. Like, oh my God, it happened to you. Like how? Because I don't want to catch that. Like that's what it kind of felt like. And I remember feeling like, God, this feels so isolating, and I just feel so alone. And I remember just, the gift in that is I learned to meet myself on that deeper level. But I think that's then why I was so passionate about sharing our story in all the articles that we've written for like Mamma Mia and Kidspot and things like that, to just like pull back the curtain and share like the realness of challenges in relationships, and to help other people not feel so alone, because I felt really alone on that journey. I think that would be the hardest part for me.
Beautiful. And one other question I'll ask you is, why is saving marriages so important to you personally?
Well, I think that leads into it really well. So I think because I just felt so alone, and I feel like we've lost our way in how we support people through divorce. It's still a very lonely journey.
Yeah.
So for me, it was about helping other people feel less alone.
Yeah.
Because I felt so alone. Also, I just realized that like, it's not that marriage is broken as a concept, it's that the way we teach marriage is broken.
Yeah.
And I realized through our challenges that was the problem. Like, we still loved each other. We still cared about each other. We didn't know how to make marriage work. And I also realized that marriage had evolved. Like, I deep dived into marriage and where it started and how it started. And I realized that, like, marriage has evolved, but the blueprint in the way that we teach marriage has not evolved. It's so outdated. And it doesn't work for modern couples, for modern marriage. The old blueprint does not work for modern marriages. So I realized, I wanted to save the concept of marriage by bringing in the new blueprint. And that's how we then realized that we needed to recreate our relationship. And we came up with that vision framework because we realized our marriage wasn't broken. It was just the way we taught to do marriage was.
Yeah.
So, I really wanted to share that with more couples. But then the other part of it is, like, I know we both really care about, like, happy kids, like happy, healthy, safe children in the world. And we really believe that starts with the parents. Like, if you want to heal the kids, you've got to heal the parents. And I really think if you want to heal the world, you need to heal couples, because we're the ones that are creating the next generation.
Absolutely.
So a huge part of the why is that, like, if we want to make the world a better place, I think it starts in our homes and in our relationships. And I wanted to be a part of that. And definitely healing, like, the masculine, feminine, like wounding, like there's just...
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And we'll probably do an episode on that in the future.
I think we definitely will,
There's a lot of gender wars and a lot of arguments and
it's just so sad.
A lot of toxic stuff around just men fighting against women and women fighting against men. And we're designed to work together, but there's still a lot of hate out there in the world at the moment. So it'd be beautiful to see that healed.
Yeah. And so, I think all of that, became part of why I really wanted to share it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. Shall I ask you some questions?
Absolutely. Go for it.
They were good questions. Thank you. When I told you I thought we needed a divorce, what was going through your mind in that exact moment?
I think if I rewind the clock, I think I basically went into, like a survival response.
Yeah.
I was already probably living from a survival response in my nervous system. And I think it probably just sent me further into this survival pattern. I froze. I didn't know I wasn't aware of what was going on. I didn't know it was that bad. As you found out with my response, that I didn't think it was that bad. So initially it was denial. Yeah. I think I was just in denial that it wasn't actually that bad. And I was probably telling myself a story that you were overreacting.
Yeah.
And that it would work itself out. But then as you began to take responsibility and you did your cleaning up of your side of the street, I then started, it just highlighted that it actually was, I was not being the best version of myself. Not that I was bad, but I wasn't being the best version I could be for you, for the kids, for myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what the process was that went on for me.
So what was the turning point where you realized you needed to change? Was that it?
No, the turning point then would have been when you had already done some of the work. So it was several months down the track.
Yeah.
You'd already shifted. I could see that you'd shifted. I could see the gap. Like, I could see the gap growing. Mm-hmm. So you were growing and I was still standstill. And I saw that, like, there's no longer going to be a match here. Like, if I keep staying stuck here and keep saying that it's all her, she's going to grow so much that she's actually going to attract someone so much better and different to me, because we won't be compatible.
Yeah.
So I need to do the work to meet her, to meet you where you're at.
Yeah, and you did.
I did.
Celebrating you so much.
I resisted for a long time, but I did.
Yeah, you did. I'm super proud of you. Amazing. So, wow, I love this. It's been good. So fun.
Yeah.
So if you have listened to this, I just want to, like, I hope that you take from this that your marriage isn't broken, okay? Like, that's what we learned through this experience. Our marriage wasn't broken. We were just lacking the skills and the tools to create a marriage that worked for us in terms of modern marriage, okay? So it has evolved, and you're likely modeling your marriage and your relationships on, like, your parents. And maybe, they gave you the best model they could, but maybe theirs wasn't perfect either, you know, because no one's is, and they weren't taught it either. So, we can't really blame the people behind us. We can just take responsibility and go, okay, well, like Adam said, clean up my side of the street and, learn what I don't know. about how to create the marriage that I wanted.
Yeah.
And we didn't know a lot. We had to learn a lot. So, it's a strength to actually find those answers. I would say it's a weakness to put your head in the sand and do nothing about it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
No judgment, because as you heard, Adam did that.
I stuck my head in the sand for a long, long time. So absolutely no judgment at all. But the good news is that you can change it. Even if it feels like you're stuck, even if you've been together for a long time, even if your partner is resistant, even if you're really busy, even if you've tried counseling and therapy and it hasn't worked, it's not the end.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the end.
No.
The way that we teach relationships is very different to counseling and therapy. We actually work with a lot of couples who have done counseling and therapy, and they find the approach a lot more effective and a lot more enjoyable as well, because it's just very different. So I've loved that. Yeah. It's been a great episode. Hopefully you guys have loved it too. If you have, then please let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. You can send us a DM on Instagram, Aston_Simmons or Adam__Simmons. We'd love to hear your feedback. This obviously is the relaunch of the podcast, so it's our first episode. So any love and support you can give us would really help, not only help us, but also just help this message get to couples who really need it. Maybe they're struggling like you right now. And more couples need to hear that there is a different way to work on your relationship and create the life that you want. So if you could share this episode or subscribe if you're on Apple, follow if you're on Spotify, and just share and leave a review, that would help us so much, and we'd really appreciate it. And on future episodes, we're going to be diving more into some of the tools and frameworks and the things that we share with couples that are going to really help you to get more out of your relationship, to recreate your relationship. So definitely subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next episode.